I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
It just came out! Look at that!
I love it!
Welcome back. We are live here at After Hours, and the Whack Pack is ready to take on another day, another mission. And I have some funny stories to tell you guys. Let me bring you guys in. Armand, Larry, Amin, and Greg, welcome to the show. I know John texted me, are we doing this? I sent him the link like 20 minutes ago. You guys check your emails?
I do.
Larry is always the first one here, always. And Armand is usually the next. So Greg, have you been following what's going on with Lee Priest?
Yeah, I just did a video about it.
Yeah.
A piece of my medicine, huh?
So Lee, there's this guy, Daddy Aioli, who's a Mexican, superstar there. He's a social media guy. He has over a million followers. And I guess he had done some video in 2022 where he was like choking a cat and doing some other stupid stuff. He was feeding the cat a pre-workout or something like that. And I don't know I guess it had come out at the time, but then people forgot about it. And then someone sent it to Lee Priest, and Lee Priest brought it up. And Lee's obviously a super animal lover like I am, and all of us are, I think. And Lee went crazy, and he's like, I can't believe this guy would have sponsors, and the sponsors should get rid of him. And I guess he's sponsored by that young LA company in Dragon Farmer Nutrition. So after going back and forth, and Lee's been on the rampage on this thing, they actually dropped him from that young LA. And so all his Mexican fans now are going after Lee and trying to assassinate Lee's character, saying he beats his wife and he can't see his kid, which is not true. It's all BS.
No,
their rationalization, which I thought is really funny, is that Lee's a terrible person, so therefore our guy should be let off the hook for abusing animals. Which is
they said he abused his kid. They said he abused his daughter. I just did a video saying, "Oh, really? Well, how come his daughter grew up following his footsteps, right? He was so abusive, and she is so distraught by this that she followed in his footsteps, became an IFBB pro, loves her father. I
don't know if she's an IFBB pro, but yeah, she might be a pro, I think, in another organization. But
no, I think, isn't she an IFBB pro?
No, I think she's a pro in one of those other organizations.
She's a pro, but
either way, Greg, he also spoke about his wife, saying he beat his wife.
Right. There's all the documentation for this. You know what the funny thing is? Lee wasn't even here when his daughter was growing up. He was living in the United States at the time.
But you're forgetting another thing that they said about him. Because they're Mexican and all this other stuff. My girlfriend's Mexican, so nobody say it, right? But listen to me. They said he's racist. Really? Well, wait a minute.
Yeah, he had a black wife, didn't he, for a while?
Girlfriend. Adela Garcia, who's Spanish, Hispanic. He dated Adela for how long, right? So, and I put this in a video. You people saying shit about him, you have no idea what you're talking about.
You know what, Greg, the truth of the whole thing is, it doesn't even matter what Lee did. It doesn't make the fact that this guy abused that cat any better. Even if everything they said was right about Lee, which it's not, it wouldn't change the fact that this guy abused the cat. That's
abused the cat. But wait a minute, Johnny Bravo. He did a
great video on it. Yeah,
he made a great point. And his point was, it's not okay. He abused the cat and everything, and none of us like that because I'm not a cat guy, but I don't like you abusing any animals. If I kill a rat, I actually feel bad, believe it or not. But the thing is, I got to tell you something. The thing is, he put, in John Bravo's own words, he put that Order 66 shit on Lee, and now Lee's got thousands of friggin' like Mexican kids and all this shit attacking because you made him lose his job. You're talking about him beating cats when you beat your daughter, you beat your ex-wife. You're racist. You don't like Hispanics now. And none of that's true. He dated Adela Friedmansky. He's had black girlfriends. His daughter followed in his footsteps, idolizes him.
It doesn't even matter, though, Greg. It doesn't change the fact that this guy abused a cat. That's what we're talking about.
Gaslighting.
They're trying
These guys are a dime a dozen. They come around. They all look the same. They have the same haircuts. They act the same. They all have 2 or 3 million followers, which I don't know where they come from because I've never heard of these people. And then they got all these little minions that attack people. Young LA, I don't think they pay you because I had a guy.
That guy was getting paid, Armand. That guy was getting paid. I heard he was getting paid $30,000 a month.
Supposedly.
Oh, really? That guy was.
I don't know if it's true. I heard he was getting $30,000 a month.
Well, that's what
I know the bigger guys they do, the big name guys.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't getting anything. I don't know. But he obviously was upset that he lost the contract, so he must have been getting something.
That's their claim is that he lost the contract. It cost him money, and that leads to. But you can't. I understand the whole thing is with the cat. But
why would you post that video?
That's the point, Greg. It doesn't even matter about anything else. It's why are you trying to assassinate Lee's character just because he pointed out the fact that you abused a cat? I'm
surprised more people ain't attacking the guy. Not for nothing, but
they're trying to distract. It's like what happened when COVID came out to distract everyone from the fact that the economy is falling apart.
Right. Well, now they're trying that shit again, but we won't even get into that. The thing is, but I understand it, but there's not. You figure some of these kids would at least say, "Hey, yeah, man, I have a cat at home. What the fuck's wrong with him doing that?" But they're using that as an excuse to attack Lee when Lee has nothing to do with this. He just brought out the fact that he didn't like to see this kid doing this, and he told Young LA, which I never heard of Young LA. It sounds. Who made the company Young LA? But whatever.
They've been around a while, actually, from what I
understand. They got some decent clothes. They sent me some stuff before, or someone. They have some decent stuff.
I never heard of it, but whatever. I'm just saying. Instead of I agree that
they're a big company. That's why they suspended the guy and eventually let him go because they don't want that bad publicity.
Right. No, I think get away with doing something.
I hate to say it, Greg. I hate to say it, but animal abuse is in our society is looked down upon more than if you abuse another person. I know it sounds
animals are looked higher than humans now.
Yeah,
because they're helpless.
I agree with you. I hate animals. If I kill a friggin' rat outside, if I set a trap and get a mouse or whatever, I feel bad.
I think everyone, because those rats are good guys, Greg. I know.
No,
there's people though that treat animals like way better than humans, and that's what's sad when they're like, "Oh, I hate humans. I love animals. They will never hurt me." No shit. They, you feed them and all that. It's just there's some people that just way too. Like I call them dog nutters. Like I love a dog. I had my own dog when I grew up, and but some of these people it's sad that they treat animals better than human beings, and it's like that's what's got to change. You can do something to a human being that's awful, and it's like okay, and you do anything to an animal, which I don't think what he did was right at all. You can't choke a cat and do all that. He was probably playing around. It was just a little too rough, and it looked bad, but it is what it is.
Armin, animals are innocent.
Yes.
They don't do anything back to you. They don't do anything out of it.
Well, some of them do, yeah.
Animals don't do anything. They're not vicious. They don't do anything out of spite. They don't screw you over. People do.
They're just helpless. Like it'd be like messing with a child. Animals, elderly, children. Yeah. It's just weird. And that kind of behavior, we know all that. We know that kind of behavior leads to other scary stuff, although
Armand, the real question is, why did he put it on? Why did he put it out there?
That's what I'm saying. Really?
I mean,
no brains.
Yeah, but somebody should have told this guy before it got out of control.
You know what happens? You know what happens? I mean, people who become so popular on social media think that they can't say anything wrong. They think everything they do is going to be funny and cool because everyone likes everything you do, and then you do one thing that's a little off. Off what you should do, and then next thing you know, you're canceled, and that's
what's funny.
But people in Western civilization do not understand third world countries. We're all living in this bubble. You don't know what goes on in a third world country. You don't know what goes on in Mexico or Haiti or all of the.
Always every time he's going to make a good point. He
Larry's right, and a lot of other countries they eat
finish.
dog.
Yeah, Larry, finish what you're saying.
I lived there, so I know what it is. I mean, life and death is nothing there. Your life, your human life means nothing there. You're just nothing. So a cat, they don't even think of it. Have you ever been to the bullfights in Mexico and watch them just torture the bulls?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
They do that for sport. So like in our culture, we're like, oh, he hit this cat. In their culture, it's like we're stabbing the bull to death over and over again for an hour till it finally dies, and then they think it's cool. So
That's
we
true.
not understand.
People look at us like, oh, well, a lot of people eat cats and dogs, in other countries, but we're eating chickens. What's the difference? And it's like, well, there are pets, and people. It's kind of hard for other people in those countries to understand, what
We have pet
how we feel towards our animals, because we form a bond towards the animal that's kind of, pretty wild. But yeah, it was bad what he was doing. He shouldn't have posted it. He shouldn't have done it in the first place. That's probably how he plays with the cat on a regular basis, which isn't okay. Obviously, that's animal abuse. But yeah.
Yeah, but Dave's right though. Dave brought up a good point. People will say and do things today on social media for any reason. There's videos of people ranking down the cartel. These guys in Mexico, like thinking because there's somebody big on social media down there that they can hit on it, like say things about the cartel, and then you find out they get whacked. Because people do anything for attention.
Or they get kidnapped like Larry.
That kid almost looks like the Sam Salik kid, just not as bulky.
No, they just all have the same haircut, Greg.
Yeah.
They look different.
Didn't we used to call that an afro back in the 70s and 80s?
Well, it stands up, yeah.
We called it not being green or not washing your hair.
Jerry curl? What is that?
Jerry curl, Dave. It's a
Jerry curl.
He's got soul glow in his hair.
I had that hair. Remember, Dave? I think I
You
said
did have that hair, Greg. You did.
growing shit.
Too bad you can't grow your hair. Well, you still look like you have hair on your head. Can you grow that?
Hair, but it's too thin though. If I let it grow,
it won't curl up anymore.
Nah, it's all freaking. But the days of my
you get like that beef stew kid. I love him. Beef stew. You know beef stew.
No.
Yeah, he's got a fro.
You should get a wig that looks like beef. I'm gonna pull beef stew.
Fucking wig.
It's so funny.
He doesn't have a wig. Beef stew has real hair, but you should get a wig that looks like beef stew's hair because
if you look at Stewart, his at first you think it's a wig. It really looks like a wig.
I love it.
It's incredible. It's his real hair.
Bravo's trying to. He's like worst haircut fan of all time.
Hey,
girls don't even like it. Funniest part.
That's
these guys' DHT receptors or something else. Come on.
Oh, I know.
They don't care about girls, John. They don't care about girls.
Greg, you should get a wig like that. You would be great if you wore that wig on the show.
I got to see if one of the heads. We have those heads with all wigs and shit on them and all the shit that we.
Yeah, you must have a wig somewhere in that house. I can't imagine you don't.
You know, Dave. The funny thing is, if I wore a wig of dreadlocks, then we get canceled.
Yeah, probably.
It's funny. I mean, if you wore a wig with dreadlocks, I might be hitting you up a little bit later on, if you know what I mean.
I got into it with that guy for no reason. Like he started all the drama for no reason at all.
You did? Really?
Yeah, the guy you just showed, Dave just showed.
The guy that you just saw, he caused trouble with you?
Yeah, it was like it was really weird.
Yeah, only started trouble with you?
I just forgot his name. The guy just showed his hair. His
Beef Stew?
Yeah.
He's a good guy. What could you possibly have gotten into with him?
So I made a video. Someone sent me some pictures, and they're like, "Why does he look so different?" I said, "Well, he grew fast. Your face changes a lot when you're taking, certain stuff." And, I was like, he has a lot of stretch marks on that you can see. And then someone commented below. They're like, "Those aren't stretch marks. Those are self-harm marks." I guess where he got a knife and, cut all over his body. I didn't know that. So I said,
hold on. What were they?
Self-inflicted knife wound.
Scarification. Yeah.
Is that because he had some kind of like something like who does that? Is that like an malady where you inject self?
I know I've known people who've done that.
I don't know what it was. It was
Greg, you got to keep that wig on.
Someone
I
very
love
close
it.
to me did that, Armand.
I love it, Greg.
That's the same hair.
Yes,
It
I love
is.
it.
It
That's
is.
great.
You
That's
pulled it off.
We got Daddy Aioli here on the show.
Yeah, what's up? Fucking Arnold, you fuck with me.
How come you were choking that cat?
What's that?
How come you were choking that cat, Aioli? It's Greg
Whoa.
Valentino.
Whoa.
I didn't even know it.
I just flipped the wig.
He flipped his wig.
Greg's feeling like
All
a
right.
woman today. He's related
All right,
to
shut up, Greg. Let me finish. So,
Yeah, really.
so underneath, I said I didn't know that.
Please
I
give
stand
tips to
corrected.
Greg. He wants a sex transformation. He needs a sex change. Please.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Arnold. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just grabbed the wig. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
No, it was like a while
You
ago. I
didn't know
thought
there
it
was
was
4
really
other
weird.
people on the show.
So I said, I stand corrected. Those are self-harm marks. I didn't know. I thought they were stretch marks. No big deal.
Right.
Okay. So his coach, which I'm friends with, texted me or called me and said, hey, could you call him and apologize? He's really upset. I was like, upset about what? He's like, because you said that text. And I was like, what did I say? I said, those were bad stretch marks. Someone else commented and said, no, those are self-harm marks where he, carved himself, legs, chest, everywhere. So that's why I thought they were stretch marks. But I said, I'll apologize.
My question is, was that done purposely? Did he do
Yes,
that?
yes.
Now, what's the purpose of that? Is that like giving
A mental breakdown, Dave, like a mental
Yeah.
breakdown.
There are people that
it's not a good thing. It was a bad thing.
No. It's
Yeah.
emotional
So
breakdown.
the mental breakdown.
Oh,
And
who's
so
talking now? Was that you, John? Or
No.
No, I was
you
saying it's an
explain?
emotional breakdown. I have someone very close to me that did it. I don't really want to talk about it, but yeah. It was
okay,
done.
so I felt bad.
Okay.
And I said, yeah, I'll call him. So I hit up on IG. I didn't text it. I texted it. So it was more personal. I said, hey,
Right.
man, I didn't mean any harm by that. I went through my mental issues myself. I have friends that have done a lot, have been through hard times like that. I wasn't trying to make fun of or anything. I thought there were stretch marks. Someone said they were not. And so I said, I stand corrected. He goes, no, it's fine. You didn't hurt my feelings. I'm fine. I'm like, no, man, I'm apologizing to you. I did not try to hurt your feelings at all. And he kept saying, I'm fine. That's not a big deal, bro.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And so
He's a pretty
then I
cool
called
guy.
the coach and I said, okay, I apologize. I feel bad because I didn't know. The next thing, I'm getting all these messages. This guy, which was weird, he made a story on IG and he posted my picture and then he said, I guess Armand thinks mental health's funny. And then I have all these people attacking me, sending me, it was like 6 people, like sending me like hate messages. And I sent the guy, I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you? I said,
the guy
I literally apologized to you, and it was taken out of context. I have dealt with demons myself, and I've had a lot of really close friends that did that or other things. And I would never make fun of mental health in any sort of way, especially what I've been through in my life. And I go, that was really shitty what you did, trying to get people to attack me on the internet. You're a piece of shit now. Like you're an actual piece of shit. Like, fuck you. Like you're a bitch. Like who does that?
Right.
I called this coach back. I was like, yeah. And he's like, did he really? I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with that guy?
Weird.
He's like, I don't know, man. Real weird.
Some people, you might have touched a nerve on him, and it's obviously it was a sore topic, and it did bother him, and I guess he didn't accept your apology. I mean, that's
but I even left voicemail like, hey, dude, I'm really sorry.
You were the bigger man. You went and talked to him, and
I said, no big deal. It's okay, no big deal. And then he goes, makes a big deal of it.
Yeah. He said big deal like several times.
Can you put that wig back on, Greg? I kind of like the way that wig.
Yeah, I like the wig better.
Yeah,
Dave, it's because there's something wrong with every one of us is the reason. You don't do what we do unless there's something fucking wrong with you.
Yeah.
I mean, right? I mean,
yeah.
You leave well enough alone.
We're all crazy,
We are.
What was upsetting is I felt for him and I reached out and I said, I just didn't want to send a simple text. I said, dude, I am sorry from the bottom of my heart. I did not know that's what it's from. I did not try to, put you down in any sort of way. I understand mental illness completely. I understand that. I've been in some really bad places myself. Please accept my apology. He goes, dude, it didn't hurt my feelings. I'm fine. Like, brush me off. I sent another message. I said, I know you're not fine because I talked to your coach. He said you're upset. Like, I just really want you to know I'm sorry. And I did not mean that whatsoever. He goes, whatever, I'm fine. And then sends that shitty thing out for people to attack me online. I'm like, now you're a piece of shit. Now you're a bitch. Now if I see you, we're not okay. Because that's shitty. To get people to attack me saying I think mental illness is funny. Like, fuck you. That's shitty.
Does your girlfriend like the wig, Greg?
I don't know. I pulled it off for one of her mannequins. Look, I didn't notice, but it has a little hat.
She walks him right to the fucking corner and pimps him with that wig on.
That's a hat. I guess because it was on the back, I didn't see it.
Gotcha.
Does Lucia pimp you out with that wig on?
Greg probably really does wear the wig.
I got my shirt, my Rocky shirt on. There is no tomorrow. Apollo Creed.
I like it.
I like that.
But I noticed for some reason I stink. I don't know why I stink today. And I always put deodorant on. I shower in the morning. I don't know why I fucking stink today.
I'll tell you exactly why. I had this problem in Florida a million fucking times.
Why?
It's so fucking humid there that nothing dries. So you put the shirt in the dryer, you think it's dry because the dryer went off.
Oh, you think
you
it's
fold it up, you put it in the closet, it's still fucking wet.
I think you're right.
You take it out after 2 weeks and it fermented in there.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm like really against
John,
smell.
that's brilliant. You're absolutely right. That's
I smell
exactly
like
what
an
it is.
old.
I had to figure out what the fuck because I take my shirts out of the
Well, what do
laundry
you
and
do?
they fucking stink. I mean, what's going on?
Dried fully. It smells like a wet face cloth if it's not.
Yeah, but if you run them through the dryer again twice, then they don't stink.
Okay, so that's
You gotta, or if you do a big batch, then you do vinegar and you wash it with vinegar, it gets that smell out.
Does it? Oh yeah.
He's talking about
Yeah, if you get that moldy smell from letting the
vinegar.
clothes sit too long in there, and then you just wash it with vinegar.
Yeah.
It gets
And you
the
smell like a fucking pickle.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I can't stand the smell of vinegar, but it doesn't have a smell after that.
Does a dryer sheet kill it or not?
No, I don't know. I think John's right. I think I got to. You know what? For some reason, these stupid smart dryers they turn themselves off.
Yep.
They're not
When
that.
they think it's dry,
I'm
but
telling
it's
you,
never
I had
really
the
dry.
same exact problem in Florida, and I figured it out and fixed it. You got to either set it for the not the automatic,
Set it and forget it.
not the timer. 60 minutes,
Ron
whatever.
Popio.
Yeah.
Remember that? Ron Popio. Set it and forget it.
That's exactly right. Right. Yeah.
Them rats that you throw in them snake pits, those things stink. When you would open up that box, I smelled them rats.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Smelled familiar, huh, Greg?
like
So I got to tell you guys a story. So I had to go for blood work, and one of the HRT clinics sent me for blood work, and then my endocrinologist sent me for blood work at the same time. So a lot of the tests were redundant. CBC, which is the blood count, the thyroid, all that stuff, all the same test. But I needed it for two different people. So I said when I got to LabCorp, I said, "Can you do both of these?" They're like, "Yeah, we'll just draw double the vials." I'm like, "Fine." So I get the results back from my endocrinologist. Blood work came in like 3 days ago. I'm looking at it. I'm like, all right, everything's pretty good. Today I get another email saying the HRT's clinic blood work's in. I'm looking at that, and the results are different. But I had it drawn at the same fucking exact time. Like,
Wow.
holy shit.
there was not one value that was exactly the same. And my point to this whole thing is that I think these blood work values are not. People get a little nervous if they're like a point or two over or a point or two under the normal range.
That
It
would
doesn't mean anything. You have to be like really out of the range.
Way out. Yep.
Because there's no consistency with these things. It's kind of like an estimate in a sense. And it's crazy because, like some of them were high and then some of them were in the normal range. So I'm like, which ones am I supposed to listen to? My endocrinologist told me, Dave, he goes, that these things, that's why we don't get all bent out of shape if we see something a couple of points over or a couple points under, because it really has no relevancy. And so
Was your PSA consistent?
PSA was low. Yeah. Both times.
Consistently low.
Consistently low. Yeah.
Good.
And my, because it was funny because my RD, I think it's RDL, or it measures your distribution of red blood cells, how much they vary in size. So you really kind of want your red blood cells to all be around the same size. Sometimes they come out too small or too big because maybe you're deficient in iron or B12 or or sometimes your body's just producing them too fast because you're on HRT or whatever. So mine was high. So I'm like, that's weird because everything else was kind of normal. Yeah, my RBC levels were a little high, but not excessively high. And then on the next test, it came back and it was perfectly in range. So I was ready to already give myself leukemia and cancer, and then I realized I guess I'm fine. So
I think it matters like how much you worked out the day before too, and all kind of little factors.
But in this case, the test at the same time.
It was the same blood, same time, same stick.
It's the
That's
But some different labs use different values for different
tests. They were both LabCorp. It was the same place it went to.
Yeah, I do that with the glucose monitor. Same thing. You can test your blood with the glucose monitor, stick a stick in there, and then stick the stick back in, and it's 5 points difference within 10 seconds.
Right. But at least you could say there's a variation in time in which you drew the blood. My blood was, I guess it was the same thing.
No, same.
The only issue with those ranges that are off by 1 or 2, there's some markers that have a very narrow range, like PSA is one of them, like 1 to 4, that's true. And then that's it. Or hemoglobin, it's 1 to 20. So if you're like 2 points off on hemoglobin versus even hematocrit, because that's 50. Right. So I mean, I guess you got to weigh it against the actual marker, because
like liver function, which is really not liver function. Anyone who knows AST and GOT, those liver enzymes are found inside muscle cells too. So they're
always elevated in body.
So they'll come back as elevated. I haven't seen a bodybuilder who trains hard who hasn't come back with high liver enzymes.
Yep.
And we're all not liver failure, okay? And some of these doctors don't know, and they'll send these guys for liver sonograms and biopsies, and it all comes back negative.
Oh gosh, these doctors are crazy. I get clients all the time. I'm like, you're perfectly fine. Your doctor, it's like 5 points over, like the range. You're perfectly fine. Like, you don't need to go to a specialist. It's crazy what these doctors.
And some guys do CPK levels, but I don't even know why doctors measure that anymore, because CPK, which is creatine phosphokinase enzyme, which is found inside every cell in our body, essentially, it converts creatine into creatine phosphate inside the cells. So they used to use it for people like to see if you had a heart attack. Like if your CPK was too high, they would say, oh, you might have damaged your heart muscle. But if you work out and you're breaking down a lot of muscle, your CPK can go really high. And I had this one guy come to me and say that the doctor told him, no, the CPK is so high, it can't possibly come from muscle. I said, it's that high, it only can come from muscle, because
where is it going to come from?
It can only come from muscle.
Right.
You could have obliterated your liver and your heart, and you went to produce 10,000 CPK. Only muscle could do that. Right. So these doctors just don't know, and so it's kind of sad that that they're giving out bad information. So I'm just trying to make you guys available. Who gave us a tip here? $4.99. Does eating super hot peppers help with bodybuilding in any way? And if someone donates $100,000, someone donates $100, will Dave eat a Carolina Reaper on stream?
Man,
what's a California Reaper? Or Carolina Reaper?
Ghost
pepper.
Ghost
pepper.
You
know those chips? Did you see that one kid that ate it and died? He had like a heart attack. Like
really?
When he had it,
No, I didn't see that.
In Mexico, they used to have these pepper eating contests. And
oh, really?
And what I learned was the smaller the pepper, the hotter it can be. And you had these macho, caballeros with the hat and the big mustache, and they're eating this thing. Their tears are running down their face, crying. And these little fuckers there's what's that scale called? There's a something.
It measures the pepper.
Scoville units. Scoville units.
Okay.
And the higher the Scoville unit, the hotter the pepper. And these little teeny tiny peppers were like, I don't know, 1,000 or something on the scale, and they were literally would blister the skin on your lips and your tongue and the inside of your mouth. Literal blisters would come up from being burnt.
Wow.
So like Carolina Reaper says 1 point, was it 1,400 or
on the Scoville scale?
Yeah,
I'll tell you something that I've done. I haven't really experimented with peppers, but when I go to the sushi place and I eat the wasabi, I smear it on my pieces of sashimi. I just like the way it tastes. And sometimes I put a little too much on, and that's wasabi can really.
But the thing with wasabi is that it's in and out over in like a couple of seconds.
Right.
A ghost pepper will stay with you for like an hour.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
God forbid you touch your Johnson while you're taking a piss.
Or your nose, or your eyes,
or your eye,
or your eyes.
Yeah.
So Dave, the question was it helpful in bodybuilding? And I think what everyone wants to know is does the heat from the pepper create fat burning?
So I use capsaicin.
I have a new fat burner out. It's based on hot peppers. The capsaicin. 10 million. It's 10 million on the scale, the heat scale.
I actually use capsaicin when I train every single time.
You do?
I put it on my shoulders, my lower back, my knees, and my
ointment,
bicep tendons, and also my elbows.
Yeah, does it help?
Yeah. So what it does, it creates heat, and as you warm up and your body gets hotter, it gets hotter too, and it gets really hot. So I'm
in your eye.
But, yeah, it creates heat, and when things are hot, they're more pliable, so they're less likely to break and get damaged. So basically, it's like warming up the individual joints and your tendons and your ligaments and everything before you lift heavy.
I thought I had a lot of little like protocols that I do. Before I get up. I think Larry has more than I do.
Dave, my girlfriend could eat those hot peppers.
No, I learned this from training with Scott Mendelson, who's a world champion powerlifter.
Yeah, he's a strong motherfucker. Yeah,
and when you lift really heavy stuff, things can break. So he used to use tie liniment with.
That's what Jimmy used to get from the horse girl, John. Remember the one that he used to have sex with, and she would jerk the horse off.
He was preaching the other day that creatine gives you kidney failure and telling everybody to stay off of it. Scott Mendelson? Yeah, he was on TikTok preaching to people to stay off creatine. It gives you kidney failure.
No, if you have kidney failure and you take creatine, you'll probably have higher creatine in your blood. But,
so I had all these people asking me, they're like, Scott Middleton. I was like, no, you're fine. You're fine unless you already have kidney problems. They're like, why is he saying all this stuff? I'm like, he's old school. It's just his opinion, you know.
You know what happens when people have something happen to them, and I don't even know if he has any kidney issues at all. But you know, when things starts going wrong in your body, you start saying to yourself, what am I doing that could possibly be causing that? You know, and so you stop blaming everything you did. You can get really paranoid about it.
If he has kidney failure, it's not from the creatine.
No, it's definitely not.
No, but blame bodybuilding. No matter what.
Blood pressure is what causes kidney.
Blame bodybuilding. He's right.
Control your blood pressure, and you won't have a problem.
When in doubt,
like the old school like baking soda pre-workout, like that's really back in now. Like all the kids are doing that, and people.
You know what it does though?
It buffers
lactic acid, but it fucks your stomach up. You get diarrhea from that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I'd try it before too, and let me shit my brains out. Yeah.
A couple of Tums is all you need.
No, it neutralizes stomach acid, but the thing is, they take it because it's lactic acid. Tony Huge does it. It takes it for the lactic
Tums
acid.
works just as well.
Yeah, you're right.
That's it. Tums works for lactic acid.
Yep, sure does.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Dude,
they're all taking it pre-workout, and I'm like, there's all these advanced pump products now that are better that are made now for that, not just baking. You know,
well, beta-alanine is a much more expensive way to neutralize lactic acid. I mean, that's what you have in Stimulize. That's the real way to do it. You know, baking soda fucks your stomach up because it pulls electrolytes out of your body. So you don't want to really do that. Kind of like the poor man's way of neutralizing.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that every day. So
I love the fact that doctors, when you go to a doctor and you find out you're calcium deficient or you have osteoporosis, they tell you to eat Tums. Tums is, you know what Tums is? It's chalk. Calcium carbonate. It's the worst form of calcium you can possibly take. Yeah. It's the least absorbable. You want to take chelated calcium, and you want to always complex it with the right amount of magnesium that's also chelated, bound to amino acids. That's why like a product like my V Mineralize is so above everyone else's, because they're chelated minerals. That at least you can absorb the stuff. I don't know why doctors are so unknowledgeable about
you can't methylate that at all.
I have more methylated shit here. What about methylated? That's it.
That's minerals. Methylated B vitamins you want, but you don't.
Right.
That's
those 1 ml bottles are so annoying, by the way.
I know.
Those are so annoying.
I know. I don't know why they do that, but they probably charge $40 for that one bottle. That's why.
I think it has to do with, I forgot why they started doing it, but there is a reason. Yeah,
hold that up again, Greg. I want to show someone something. Hold that bottle up.
But this is I have a prescription. You see, there's
I know. I don't care about your prescription. Hold it up the front of the bottle.
Right, like that, right?
Now, if you look right next to the word sippy, Nate, you see that little C with the 3? That's a controlled 3 substance.
Yeah.
Schedule testosterone is on the same scale as like opiates. It's crazy.
No, opiates are Schedule 2, Dave.
Yeah, but they're still scheduled.
No, like Valium and cocaine.
Valium's Schedule 4.
Wait, what am I doing?
Benzos are Schedule 4. Vicodin used to be Schedule 3, but it became Schedule 2. Steroids are in a class right below painkillers.
It's the dumbest thing that hormones are on a controlled substance list. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, when they were passing the law in 1990, none of the experts from the AMA, the scientists that were questioned, none of them agreed that steroids belonged in Schedule 3. Even the representatives from the DEA agreed that steroids did not belong in Schedule 3.
Why isn't prednisone and estrogen a scheduled drug, John?
Good question.
Right.
Good question. And so what the problem was that they had to answer to the sports lobby that was making so much noise about Dianabol.
Right.
So they had to do something. And so Biden, because he's bought and paid for, he wrote the bill with Dan Lundgren, and now we got the same fucking guy talking about what do you call it? Medical care for transgender people that need testosterone. So he goes from outlawing it for bodybuilders to, it's okay for the transgender people.
Do you remember when we did that movie, Bigger, Stronger, Faster? Do you remember what he said in there? He said, because of anabolic steroids, I couldn't make the football team in college.
Right. They wanted to take me out.
You guys, have you guys ever taken prednisone and just flipped out? Like, it causes anger problems.
Well, it affects your mental state. That's why.
It does. Yeah, I've never been as mad. I had to take prednisone a few different times. I was like flipping out. Like I was like, I guess that what roid rage would be. And I was like, what is going on? And I read all the inserts, and it causes like mood disturbances and rage. I'm like, this is terrible. I'm being terrible to everybody. This stuff's
Dave, have
awful.
you ever taken a Medrol dose pack?
Yeah. I've done it. You know what? When I had my hair grafts done years ago, they give you that because it's because you're the swelling in your head is.
Wait, a question. See if he remembers this, Larry. There was a drug. Maybe you might, because you're good with drugs. There was a drug in the 80s, a bodybuilding drug that actually had testosterone with a little bit of progesterone in it. Do you remember that? Guys were saying they were getting monster pumps from that. I wish I could remember the name of it. Dave, do you remember that, or Larry? Maybe.
So
they used to make pellets along with Vinaplex.
There was a drug that was produced in Australia, supposedly Australia, but it was really produced down in Mexico by Dr. Cohen, and it was methanol dipropionate.
That one didn't have estrogen in it, though.
But what that did, it was a potentiator. Like on its own, it wasn't very anabolic. But if you took it with like any kind of nandrolone or even EQ or whatever, it amplified the effect of it. And
So they said.
No, I used it. It worked. It worked good.
Yeah. You used it with a million other things. I used it too, and I like to believe it. I like to believe it that it worked like that, but I don't know if it really did.
But this was something that had testosterone with a little bit of progesterone in it, and guys in Sполs and Gold's Gym were saying, I remember I was reading all about it. I think Duchesne even talked about it. Where guys monster pumps.
Sten? No. Sten.
What's the science behind that, Dave?
Sten. I took Sten.
What?
I don't think it was Sten.
The progesterone with the testosterone.
Sten was.
I don't think it does anything, but
You hold water. You give big enough water.
That's the
the
problem.
progesterone makes you hungry and makes you want to eat more.
Does it really? Is that why?
Yeah.
All I know is you were saying the guys were getting monster pumps.
Yeah, remember Megastrol? You know what Megastrol is? Remember Megastrol was out for appetite.
Megastrol,
And Megastrol is basically progesterone.
Oh shit.
Yeah. If you ever see anybody on progesterone, they look bloated. I mean, they look completely blown up. So it would make sense that you could take it with an androgen, and you would get a sick pump from it because of the water attraction.
The Megastrol is a derivative of cannabis.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is. It's
it is.
No, it is.
It's like a cell volumizer or something, right?
As far as I know, it's a progesterone, but I don't know where it's gotten.
It makes you hungry.
I'm pulling it up now.
It increases your appetite.
Megase,
Megase,
It's an oral drink.
Progesterones, appetite stimulant, progestin hormone.
They give it to people that are going through chemotherapy. My stepfather had it.
No, I know, yeah, but I'm just saying I don't see anything where it's coming from marijuana or anything like that.
Do not get pregnant. That's it. Greg can't use it.
Greg,
I know somebody right now who's an IFBB pro is using it, and he swears that it makes him super hungry.
It does. It does
for sure.
That's why I think they put the progesterone in that.
Well, people on the bullets, it has periactin in it, whatever that is. That it has that little ingredient.
It's an anti.
Stimulate appetite, because in that country, the guy, men and women who had dysentery, if you were sick, it helped to retain so you don't lose all this weight.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people take mirazapine now for appetite. Have you ever? It's like kind of like Seroquel. It's like an antipsychotic. But
a lot of people use weed for appetite.
Does Seroquel increase?
Weed never made me very hungry.
Megastrol progesterone. It's a modified derivative of the naturally occurring female hormone progesterone. So just for clarification purposes.
The last thing I need is something to stimulate my appetite. I'm hungry after I eat. You know what I'm saying?
I wish I eat like 3 times if I eat a day. I just can't eat.
You're a big guy. It's crazy. Forget it. I'm hungry all day, all night. It's unbelievable. I wish.
Because you go to the gym at 4 a.m. That's why.
I was in the gym last night, bro. I had to wake up. The reps, increase the dosage. Anyway.
I used to love going to the gym late. By the way, John, you're thinking of Marinol, which is the one that
Marinol.
That's it, Marinol. I'm sorry.
Those are the pills.
Yeah, that's made from marijuana.
Over where we live, Marinol's where to have the nuns and stuff.
Marinol, they would give the HIV guys. I remember they would have all these bottles of Marinol.
Cancer patients get it too.
Yeah.
In the early 90s,
chemotherapy.
You guys were getting jacked from. We'd go to the club, and the biggest guys in the club had no shirt on because they're all gay dudes taking friggin' growth hormone and all that stuff.
My suggestion is if you can't eat, if your appetite's really blunted on anabolics, I mean, when you're trying to grow. Try to take anabolics that are the longest acting and injectables, because orals definitely blunt your appetite. And even short acting anabolics, because your liver has to process them faster, will take away your appetite a little bit. I never had a problem eating on testosterone and DECA or testosterone and EQ. I always had a really good appetite on those drugs. And because they're long acting injectables and they don't have any toxicity. And
even VAR, which isn't supposed to cause. VAR is not supposed to mess up your appetite, but every time I take VAR, it destroys my appetite.
It's oral.
Dave, this is Marinol. This is the actual name brand for it. I actually have a prescription.
Hold on. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Now, what's that for?
It's for extreme nausea.
Oh, it's not a hormone, or
no. This is synthetic THC. This is what they give cancer patients when they're vomiting.
So why are you taking that?
I have a condition where I have extreme nausea.
Oh,
he does the RX Muscle Show.
Yeah. After the show, he's got to take those from the show. Yeah.
Want to borrow the wig?
That's making me nauseous too.
Larry, do you still eat like a bodybuilder, like 6 times a day?
I try to, but honestly, there's some days where I just don't get all the food in just because of like work and time. But yeah, I always have food with me, and I do my best to try to get it all down. Sometimes it's difficult. Yeah. Look, I have this right here, sitting here.
Yeah.
What's in there, Larry? Chicken and rice?
And I try to eat things that are easy to get down, like gluten-free pasta mixed with ground turkey and ground beef.
Yeah.
Just because it's easier to shovel down my throat. If I have to sit there and chew it like a steak, you know, by the time I'm done chewing that steak, half of it, I don't feel like eating it anymore.
You don't like the
you know what? You want to know how to get enough protein down? If your appetite's, keep your carbs really low. You keep your carbs low, your body thinks you're dieting, and you'll be hungry.
If I keep my carbs low, I disappear.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm not saying not to
right?
eat carbs. I'm saying don't eat like excessive, because carbs fill you up and they make your brain say turn off the appetite.
Dave,
That's what I did lately. I was 285, bloated as like really bloated, and I just cut my carbs out and I just only pretty much did protein, like and I dropped down to 260. I feel so much better now. And my body looks way better now too. But yeah, the carbs, yeah, that is true. Big time, yeah.
Because when you start dieting, you can be in the off season, you can't eat anything, right? And then all of a sudden, you go onto a contest diet, and it's like in 1 week you're like ravenous. It's because your carbs are cut back, so of course you're going to be hungry. And that you can do. So what you can do off season is have a couple of days where you go low carbs. I'm not saying to do it all the time. Not no carbs, low carbs. And what your body will think, he's dieting. Pick up the appetite, and then you'll get a nice surge of hunger. Sure. I think it works really well.
Hungry, I don't know. I get more hungry eating carbs.
Some grilling.
While we're on the subject, I was mentioning this before the show started. I ordered some Cialis and clomiphene from pharmacy overseas, and it got seized and it held in customs, and I got a customs letter. And I sent it to Rick Collins, and of course he told me, never mind that you can't import this. But anyways, I talked to some.
Every time he's going to make a point, he
was going to make a great point. This must be the feds.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm not in this business anymore, but I know people that are. And there's a lot of seizures taking place right now in customs.
So don't send shit from overseas. That's the take-home message.
But bottom line is they're getting ready to do another one of those things. This is what happens.
Larry, why don't you just go to a rejuvenation clinic and get your Cialis and Clomid?
I have the prescription. I get it for there. It's like pennies.
Yeah, but you know what? But you know what? I tell this to people all the time. You're not like a young kid who has no money. You have money. You're better off not even putting yourself, especially given your past. It's not even worth doing it.
Well, like my clinic, I get Cialis all day. I mean, I've got so much of them. It's like, and they just give it to me for free. The clinic I work with, but you need to link up with a clinic. A lot of these clinics will sponsor
a clinic. He's aligned with, right?
I didn't think it was illegal or anything, so I didn't think it was a big deal.
Yeah. It's nothing that's a prescription drug coming from another country is legal. Nothing is.
Yeah, my guy, my good friend, he's dealing big time. He was like. FDA busted all my overseas packages after September, so he's not doing any overseas stuff anymore.
You think there's going to be a big bust coming down?
Yeah,
he does. He thinks there is. He's like he supplies a lot of the pros. He supplies a lot of people. So
what were you going to say, Larry?
It's an election time, and Biden's trying to get reelected, and I guarantee you he's going to do one of these things.
Do you think he'll even remember to do it though?
It's not him. It's whoever's telling him what to do.
Right.
This is the first step. This is the first step in. They start seizing packages, and what they're doing is they're tracking the packages back to the people.
Right.
And they're setting up the cases, and they're going to be a big roundup in the next few months. Watch.
Probably.
I always tell people if you can afford it, just go to a rejuvenation clinic like Titan Medical Center, and and just don't even worry about it. You got a prescription. You're going to pay a little bit more money, but you know what? You don't have to worry about anything.
It's so much less stressful.
Yeah,
you get your testosterone, they can prescribe Anavar, they can prescribe, a lot of them prescribe Winstrol, Deca. Yeah. I mean, they can prescribe.
There's different clinics that will go to different levels of what they're willing to do.
Get TRT. Go to the doctor, get TRT. I used to get TRT from my own doctor.
Well, I have my testosterone prescription right from my endocrinologist, so I don't have to worry about that.
Right.
And I could get the Cialis too. I just never even thought about it. I just for years I've been getting.
Ask your physician. It's not even worth it.
Cheap. It's really cheap too, Larry.
They have generic now, right?
Yeah, Tadalafil. Yeah, it's cheap.
Yeah. Just do that thing you see on TV. Text 1-800 blow me, whatever, and you get for 86 cents.
You know what they have from Titan now? They have this bromelotide. It's the PT-141. It's supposed to be. It's an injection you can take. I think they also have it orally. and it's like a aphrodisiac. It's like when you took melanotan, it kind of caused you to have.
Yeah, it's a derivative of melanotan.
It makes you feel terrible though. Oh my gosh.
It's the melanotan without the tanning part.
Yeah.
Doesn't it make you sick? I hear guys get
Oh yeah. I get really sick if I take it.
Not the PT141 peptide.
Yeah, it makes you.
Yeah, it does, Dave. That one does too.
A little bit, maybe.
I
got so sick.
You have to take it in the morning.
Sick on it? So you probably took too much of it.
And now you got a boner, and you don't feel like doing anything because.
I tried it another time, and I took the minimum, like the tiniest dose too, and I still got a migraine. I just don't agree well with it.
Yeah.
Take like the other stuff. Like
I guess it's good. It's good if you're dieting, Armand, right? You get an erection that you don't want to eat anything.
That's what I said. It's actually a dick killer. You get a boner, but now you're ready to hurl.
No, but Greg, imagine if you're dieting and you're starving to death, and now you're nauseous. You don't want to eat. It's a good way to stop your appetite.
But then you feel like shit. You don't want to train.
Well, you could at least have sex because you got a boner.
You guys take Dave. You take the glutathione. You take glutathione, Dave.
I can't hear you.
Do you take the glutathione from your clinic?
Yeah, from Titan. Yeah, I use that every day.
It burns, man. Intramuscular, it burns bad.
You know what burns even worse? The one they have something called Triimmune. It's zinc, vitamin C, and glutathione.
Well, all you got to do is suck up a little bit of lidocaine in the pin.
Doesn't hurt it.
If you put a little lidocaine in the pin first, and then suck the drug up.
That's a good idea, John.
And you can shoot. That's a Dan Duchesne trick. Yeah, any of those drugs that burn. Put a little lidocaine in with it, and you won't feel a thing.
That's a very good idea, John.
But John, that's not the only issue because that glutathione, they want you doing like 2 to 3 mLs a couple times a week. It swells. I get knots wherever I do it.
You're better. What I do, Armand, is I do 1 ml, which is 200 milligrams every day, as opposed to doing it like 3 cc's every other day or every third day.
I can't take NAC, which is
why do you take it?
Like, isn't it supposed to be
good for your immune system, John? It's good for a lot of things, actually.
Well, why don't you NAC? It's a precursor, no? I mean,
precursors, NAC. Yeah, you can do it. I just think that oral, like, how do you know how much of the NAC converts to glutathione? It's impossible to know.
Do you really need that much glutathione? I mean, I take
the glutathione keeps you lighter too. A lot of Asians like it because it keeps their skin lighter. They take a lot of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I like glutathione. I think it's like the fountain of youth. I really do.
It's supposed to detox your liver.
Yeah.
I think it's just good for you.
Can you take it without injecting it?
No, because it's not orally absorbable.
You can do like an IV infusion.
It's best IV, though, right? It's best IV, Dave.
Some people say the glutathione, the NAC is more effective. I don't know, but I don't agree.
You take NAC, it pushes your own glutathione. I take it all the time.
You could take a little fentanyl with the glutathione. It won't hurt either.
Now they're coming out with. They came out with oral testosterone.
They always had oral.
This is not Methandriel. This is different.
I saw that. I saw that on Instagram.
And it's not.
The Troches.
It's not methylated.
Yeah. And supposedly, and the way they dose it, it works more like your natural testosterone, like.
You sure it's not testosterone undecanoate like the Andriel?
No.
Yeah, Andriel.
No, it's not that. It's different.
Another clinic does it here too. They prescribe the Troches, like you just let dissolve in your tongue, and it's the same.
But you know what? I don't believe that you get more than 10% absorption under your tongue. You swallow it. That's why you're absorbing it.
The guy that was taking it wasn't getting his test. He said he didn't feel anything at all. I was like, dude, just get on a couple 100 milligrams of injection a week. You don't need that.
Well, I don't know why everyone's got to play with different ways to. Inject a cc of testosterone a week and you'll be fine. Why do you have to take microdosing it every day under the skin, under your tongue?
That shit drives me crazy.
Looking for a better way.
That shit drives me fucking crazy. I had this one client who was taking growth hormone. I said, you do 2 IUs a day under your skin with an insulin pin. He says, he got the little teeny tiny, the 1/3 cc syringe, the little tiny syringe, and he broke the 2 units down into like the little lines, and he's like shooting himself all over the place
all day.
I go, what the fuck? It's one shot. What are you doing? A little bit here and a little bit there and a little. I go, why?
First of all, the worst place to inject is your stomach. I know everyone does it because that's what they tell you. But you're going to leave marks all over your abdominals. It's going to look terrible, okay? Mm-hmm. You can inject anywhere under any part of your skin, anywhere in your body. I usually go on my lower leg area because you can't even see it. but you're going to get marks on your abdominals, and they're going to leave permanent scars the more you do it. Don't inject your stomach. I'm telling you.
I don't get the microdosing with the testosterone. I know a lot of people like it. I've tried it, and I get lumps under there it'll stay for 3-4 weeks.
Oh yeah, it's bullshit. You put it right in the muscle.
Up 2 shots you could do in your in the kneecap skin.
Kneecap.
Yeah. Well, I go to the
you can do it anywhere. You can do it literally anywhere. It does not matter.
Why not just do it intramuscular with a short needle?
They can do it right into your delt. That's where I do most of mine. Yeah,
that's what I do.
Anything you do subcutaneous can be done intramuscular. The only thing I wouldn't do that for is insulin.
Insulin. Now a lot of these kids are microdosing trin. They're like, "Can I do 10 milligrams of trin a day?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
10 milligrams."
10 milligrams of trin a day, like 10, like microdosing it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Armin, why this is a really good idea. Because if you take 10 milligrams of tren and you're like me and you're prone to that anger shit, that 10 milligrams might not make you psychotic.
Right.
50 milligrams, you might kill someone. So there's a reason for it.
No, I'm talking about all the beginner kids.
Shouldn't use tren at all, I think, right?
The problem with that, if you're using tren acetate, the acetate ester is really short anyway. So you're going to be doing it every day, every other day. Where you can do it anyway. So 10 milligrams, you're not going to get the dose in the whole week. You're not going to make it.
If you're taking acetate, it hits you like instantly, like literally an hour.
That makes me a madman too, Larry. I can't take acetate. I can take Hex and be totally fine. The acetate makes me a lunatic.
Yeah, but if you take 10 milligrams before a training session, it'll give you.
Yeah.
And wanting to kill people.
I was just going to tell Larry how good his connection looked today, and how he looks better today. It's clear, and he sounds good. And then all of a sudden, the thing is dying again.
It's dying.
Hey, my boy Rodney Roller used to give me. Remember the little? He used to have testosterone gummies. Remember he had
really?
Yeah.
What was in them?
I think he made them because they were little squares and stuff. But they were.
I made creatine gummies.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bill Phillips used to have creatine gummies.
Who?
Bill Phillips used to sell creatine shoes. They were like, it was all sugar pretty much. Yeah.
You shit your brains out, all those creatine gummies.
Because you got to eat so many of them. It's like ridiculous.
I think muscle
what I did was I made Jell-O. I put the creatine in the Jell-O and I used 2/3 less water. So you would get gummy. And then you got to roll them in like confectioner's sugar or cornstarch to keep the moisture out. Yeah. But that worked. I mean, but you had to eat 25 of them.
That's all. Yeah.
Every time I've got those gummy vitamin C, I finish those in a day, and then my stomach's messed up. It's just all sugar.
Yeah.
But he had some good ones. He had like a little sucrete box, and it was all little squares. You take one square like that. You know what I mean?
You probably, if you use the testosterone undecanoate, which is the Andriol, you could probably put those into like Jell-O or a gummy, I bet, pretty easily.
Yeah, but why?
They were in a gel capsule, Dave. Remember, they were in a gel capsule.
They were in a gel cap. I know. But I'm saying you could probably
but they have it in a chew. I know a guy I used to get my shit from in Miami used to have them. This little tray with these little squares.
That's what
Greg's talking about. Yeah,
talking about. I think Rodney's. I don't know if Rodney made it or not, but he's.
Where were they made, John? In Mexico?
I don't know. He got them in Miami, so you know.
So what type of ester was with it, John?
Undecanate. It was
undecanoate.
No ester.
What Greg was
undecanoate it's funny. Undecanoate when you inject it is a long-acting ester. When you take it orally, it's short. Yeah,
it's
short. But this had no ester. It was just straight test.
It probably lasted a half hour in your body.
Right. Yeah, well, that was the chew. That was the gun. You take them before you train.
How long do you absorb that? Like undecanoate, you absorb. Methyl test, you absorb. But test no ester.
No, because it's an ether linkage. It goes right into the bloodstream. It avoids the liver first pass.
Yep. Right in.
Nice. But it doesn't last long because it has no 17 alpha alkylation on it.
You just got to keep
liver toxic.
I remember some guy that had the Viagra's Cialis in gummies too. He actually, I saw him at the Arnold Classic. He had a big box of him, and he was giving them to some of the guys. It was
Cialis. Most of those drugs, though.
Whoa! Back up. You saw somebody at the Arnold Classic. How did that happen?
I was there with you guys a million times.
You mean 10 years ago? You're talking about?
Yeah,
We're like 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at your place once after that with Iron Mag Labs. But
I thought the most brilliant way to get drugs into this country, steroids, that is. Remember when they used to have the remember Dots, the candy?
yeah.
They were making steroids like that for a while.
Were they really?
On paper. It was made out of paper, I think it was. They were
ate the paper.
You're thinking of acid. Blood.
No, they had steroids that were paper. Did you guys remember that?
They were doing it with D-ball and Anadrol and all that too.
Yes,
You ate the paper.
yes.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, but today you can't. Dude, my friend, I told you, my friend shit and puked in a suitcase, would fucking do all that, and he had all the stuff in there. And when he went through customs in the 90s, they were like, "Oh no!" It's like, no fucking way. You know what I mean? He would peel his clothes and throw it all in there. He knew when he got home because the shit was, and it would go right through customs. He said you could smell it outside. Coming down. People were like, what the fuck is that smell? And when customs opened it up, he had all the steroids hidden in there. And he told them, listen, I got Montezuma's revenge. It got all over my clothes. It got all over. And they were like, oh, no. Oh, fuck, close that. You know, it was horrible. But today, he probably wouldn't get away with that because customs would probably still look.
That sounds like the most suspicious story of all time. I would definitely go through it. They just didn't want to be bothered, probably. You know?
Do you guys remember the little packs that looked like hair coloring, and they were steroids they were selling, and then you would just rip the top off and stick the needle in them, and
Yeah, they had condoms too, like that, like condoms.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's got to be on steroid, but it was these little like oil packs that were just.
Yeah, but you know what? Today. They would catch you today. I watched that show, where they smuggle drugs and shit over, and they'll actually take like a suitcase handle, make it out of like fucking paint it, make it out of like fentanyl, and you think like, look, it looks like a real suitcase handle, and they'll somehow or other they find that. So today, if you had those paper things, first of all, you're not allowed to bring like candy in for whatever food in from a foreign country, so they would be like, yeah, they would catch you today, I think. Anyway,
I've seen some of those shows, and the drug that they always are smuggling the most is freaking bath salts. Who does bath salts? That's crazy.
Evidently, someone's doing it. Yeah.
Wait, it's not meth. It's because they look the same, don't they? Bath salts and meth?
No, I mean they say they tested and like this bath salts. They're like this is some of the most.
Buy that at the store.
I smuggled a liter of ketamine in from Mexico in a tequila bottle.
Yeah.
I went to the duty-free shop at the airport the day before and bought the thing, and I paid the girl to give me because if you buy something duty-free, they give it to you at the gate of the plane. So I bribed her to give it to me now, and so I had the receipt and the bottle from the duty-free shop. We went home, took it apart, wrapped it in plastic, did a really careful job with a syringe through the top, and took out the tequila and put in a liter of ketamine.
Wow!
Wrapped it all back up and went through when I went on the flight with the
how many bottles was that, John, in there?
No, actually, I forgot the best part. We went to the duty free store again and bought another bottle, threw it out, and put that bottle in.
Smart.
We would do rubbing alcohol, so it was already sterile. We would just dump the rubbing alcohol out, dump all the bottles of ketamine in there, and then you're good to go.
How many bottles can you get in a tequila bottle, John?
A liter of ketamine. So what is it? How many
bottles is that?
How many bottles of that? Well,
how many 10cc bottles is that?
10 into 1,000 is 100.
That's enough to supply the whole sound factory for a night, John.
That's pretty much what we did.
It's funny. I mentioned the sound factory. I was at a bar this after we were eating there, and this kid comes up to me. Not really a kid, guy. And he's like, I've been following your career. I'm from Staten Island, and we started talking. And he's like, I met you like 15 years ago at a Halloween party at the Sound Factory. And I remember the exact party that I went to. So we woke up at like 4:30 in the morning. We drove into the city and we went to the Halloween party. And it probably was in like 2003 or something like that. And this freaking kid remembered that. Can you believe it? The Sound Factory had the best Halloween parties of all time.
Ketamine, though, they have all these ketamine clinics now, though, that's really beneficial. They found out for the mind now, like for depression, and you know, I have a friend that he's
everything, Armand. It's they have ketamine, they have MDMA, they have psilocybin clinics, and here in Colorado, actually, in a few more months, they're going to have ibogaine clinics too.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
ibogaine is coming.
Ketamine's benefited a lot of people. I did a run of it too for my chronic pain, and after 6 sessions, my chronic pain was really good for a couple months. It brought it down a couple numbers. Then my one friend, he's very suicidal. He'll wake up one day and he does a session every time he's like that with a psychiatrist, and he's good for like. So they found that it rewires the brain and helps heal the brain from a lot of things like opiate abuse and other kind of things like that.
Do you guys think that pain, if ketamine can work for pain, reducing pain long term, I would have to believe that pain is a psychological pain that's manifesting as physical pain, because otherwise it wouldn't work beyond when it wore off. You know, if you're still out of pain when the ketamine wears off, then obviously it was something that the brain was sending to the body, pain that really wasn't there.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times it's like events that we suppress that are hurting us emotionally, and then during a ketamine trip through one of these clinics, you're monitored and everything by an anesthesiologist. A lot of that comes out, like a lot of stuff come out, like a lot of my close friends that died, I relived all that kind of stuff. And then I just felt better after I did 6 sessions. They're pretty intense, and it lasts about 6 hours because they give me a little more than my size. And after I did those 6 sessions over 2 weeks, it was like a cloud kind of lifted off me. A lot of things from the past I was having a hard time letting go of, like depression and certain friends' deaths. And during my trips, I was actually talking to, my dead friends, and it's pretty wild.
Wow.
And,
that's crazy. Did you know you were tripping, or did you think you were like in a dream or something?
No, you don't know you're tripping because
you're in a K-hole?
No, you really,
are you in a K-hole like? Yeah. Wow. That's pretty cool.
Trembolona.
If you start freaking out there or anything, they can give you something to calm you down. You have an anesthesiologist right there. You should never do anything like this at home. Like just go. No. That's how Matthew Perry died. Right?
Insurance doesn't cover that. I know it's kind of pricey.
Oh, it does not cover it, but you can file it, and sometimes it covers. It's about $700 a session. But
$700 a session.
Yeah, I did 6 of them, and it was
a lot cheaper for you with his tequila bottle.
But the thing with ketamine is it's really fucking strong, and it depends on how you use it. We never injected it. We always it's poured a little out of the bottle into the tray of a toaster oven tray, and you put it in the toaster oven. You evaporate the water off, then you scrape up the residue and you snort it. So that's how I used to do it. And one day in Mexico, I left the little tray, the toaster oven tray, under the bathroom sink. And had these guys doing some painting. So we took off. I had friends in from out of town, and we were partying the night before. That's why we cooked up the ketamine. And we went out to eat, and we came back, and 2 of the workers are sitting across the street on the side of the road. This giant puddle of vomit between them. And they're like laying on the side of the road. And they're like rolling around, and they're like what the fuck is wrong with these guys? We didn't put 2 and 2 together until way later. Yeah, they were snooping around the house. They found the fucking thing under the thing. They thought it was blow. They did 2 giant lines each. And when
that's what happens when you go places you shouldn't be.
That'll teach them.
That's right.
Doing ketamine, you need to be supervised and with the anesthesiologist and all that, because it's some scary stuff.
Do that or with Greg at the Sound Factory, and then you'd be fine too. So.
I mean, it is anesthesia. That's what it is.
It is. Anesthesia for animals. Yep.
Yeah.
Dave, I get that all the time. I get guys coming up to me all the time. Bro, I met you at the Sound Factory. Bro, I met you in 2002 in the Sound Factory. I met you in 2001, 2003, 1990s in the Sound Factory. I'm like, holy shit, these guys all remember that stuff.
I was there 3 times. You were there probably 600 times, though. That's different.
Between that and Exit, you know what I mean? We were there.
And Twilo. What about Twilo?
No,
you know what the funny thing is, Greg, John? Greg, you can't get the guy out of his house now. He was at the Sound Factory and all these clubs in Manhattan, every single night he was there. and now he won't leave his house. You know.
Well, I'm an old man now. I'm in my 60s. If I go there, I'm like their grandfather in there.
Yeah, but you're a legend.
You're a legend, though.
You're a Sound Factory legend.
Dude, I used to.
I was like that too. I went out nonstop, and then once I hit a certain age and I got in enough trouble, I was like, I'm terrified to go out.
Dave, I used to go with Bob Bonham, and he was already like 50 years old.
I know. Yeah, he was going.
You're like, holy shit, man. You know, and he looked good. I mean, he was picking up young girls, but I'm saying, like, I'd be like, dude, Bob's like older than fucking parents in here. And now here I am.
Now we're older than Bob, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a lot. Yeah, you know, Bob's birthday was the other day. He would have been 74.
Wow.
Happy
birthday, Bob.
29th of March. 29th of March, he would have been 60.
Yeah.
He would have been 54. I mean, that's how fast time goes. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, freaking, you know what, 6+ years, I'm going to be 70. John will be 70, right? When you start thinking like that, you're like, holy fuck.
Thank God you guys will be 70 before I am.
Really good.
That's why I date a young girl.
You're very smart. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up the show today. Thanks for joining us. I thought Lee Priest would join us, but maybe he wasn't around today. So we'll get him on for the Palumbo podcast with John Romano and I later this week. For now, we are out of time. Thanks for joining us, Larry. What did we lose you there for a second?
My computer just did something weird, and it came off the screen, so I don't on my phone.
You always freeze up when you're talking about something really important for like
exactly. He's getting to a good point. He freezes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have like high-speed internet and the whole thing. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. I think it's the computer. It might be time to get a new one.
Larry's getting censored.
Thanks for the tips. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Back on After Hours.
I love you
guys.
We're out.
See y'all later.